Hey guys, welcome back. This is Artemis, and we're going to be focusing on the next video for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, take it back from our last save point. We're entering directly into a cutscene with Groose. Now, this video is mostly going to consist of, pretty much almost all cutscenes and storyline. There's very little gameplay that we're going to do here because the story kind of moves forward pretty quickly. This exchange of dialogue I find pretty hilarious right here. So it's totally clear that Groose is so jealous of Link because of Link's and Zelda's relationship together as friends. And he thinks, that they might, someday hit it off, This is so funny. The sailcloth is something you'll actually be getting upon the completion of the wing ceremony. It'll prove a valuable item. This is funny. Finish the ceremony to get on the statue. It'll be our special moment alone. Nobody is stopping me and Zelda from having our moment. Oh, it's so real. I can see it. You see the face or the facial expression that he's putting on. I was like, Groose, Groose, behind you! And there she is. Oh shit, you're in deep trouble now. And I love the look on his face. Care to explain just what you meant by our special moment? Alone? Oh geez, Groose. Always has his head in the gutter. This time you were caught red-handed. So now he's heading off like a big shot. I'm gonna select us alone. That caught my attention. Come on, Link, try to focus for once. Please assemble. Okay, so this is basically when we're going to be starting the wing ceremony now. This is when the story takes off. I like the music here.
Hey!
And there's everybody. That guy looks like a chocobo. The guy on that little bird on the left there. So basically, this is the wing ceremony. You have to fly against Groose and his cronies, and you have to try and capture this yellow bird. That the headmaster uses as kind of bait, I guess, for winning the wing ceremony. And that's the first part. Then the second, there's like two parts to it. Then the second part, you have to capture him again. But this time, Groose will be like throwing eggs at you and stuff. So it kind of teaches you the fundamentals of flying and how to dodge certain things, because later on in the game you'll have to fly and dodge certain things from hitting you and knocking you out of the sky and stuff like that. So It just gets you, you know, more comfortable with your bird. And whoever actually wins the wing ceremony, obviously gets the gift from Zelda. I like how they reference it, the 25th anniversary of a fine institution. Well, this is actually the 25th anniversary of the Zelda franchise, so I just recognize that right there. So he's talking about basically you'll get a gift and you'll on top of the statue, and what it's going to be is going to be the sailcloth. And Zelda's the candidate for that. And you can see Groose is like, show me just how hard you've been practicing. Clean flying. Anyone interfering with other riders will answer to me. So that's, he's telling everybody, you know, be cool. That goes double for you, Groose.
Hey!
Alright, so here we go. Now we're starting. So you want to start running, jump off, push the directional pad down to call your wing loft. Now we're in the middle of flying. So this part is basically not too difficult to complete. It's, you know, it can require a little bit of it teaches you, you know, how to use the Wii Motion Plus to really, you know, control your wing loft and stuff. It's actually a pretty good thing to practice in the game, because you'll be using this a lot in you know, future events and stuff like that. So basically what you have to do is you just have to catch up to this bird, this yellow bird, and you win. You want to, you know, try to what I generally like to do is I like to fly up a little bit and then dive down into it and then catch it just like that. And now he's kind of ticked, so he actually bumps into Link. And now they're playing dirty, obviously. When the headmaster said don't play dirty, no tricks, and Groose obviously did not listen. So he's throwing eggs at me. So now this part you have to kind of do the same thing, except for you just have to like dodge the obstacles that are being thrown at you. It's a little bit more difficult because the bird flies a little bit, you know, in different directions. So you have to kind of bank hard and left and right and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more difficult to capture him this time. You want to use your boost, but you don't want to, you know, use them all the way up to where you're like exhausted. Like I said, what I find easiest is to just, you know, instead of using the boost to try to stay in a straight line trying to capture them, is I find easiest is to actually fly upwards, you know, elevation, and then dive down into it. And then when you dive, you pick up speed gradually, and then you'll eventually run right into them. So like I'm doing right now, and then dive down. It's a little bit harder because, you know, he's the yellow bird is banking left and right pretty more sharply, you know, so it's harder to catch him. But this is how I do it, as I just dive down right into him like that. Give it a little boost, and I pretty much got it. That was very close. There we go, see? There we go, perfect. And I am the winner, and I got the bird statuette. And so there we are. Link is the winner of the wing ceremony. Well, actually, this is like the first part of the wing ceremony. Then there's a second part also. But now you'll notice that on all of these cutscenes, you'll see where it says 2 skip. Normally that wouldn't happen on a first playthrough, but since this is hero mode, you're able to actually skip all the cutscenes. But you know, just for the you know, the full playthrough, I'm not going to skip all the cutscenes. I'm just going to keep them in and just, you know, commentate over them or whatever. I like talking about their adventures and their story and everything. Okay, so now they're both together on the wing, on the statue, the goddess's statue. Now it's kind of unknown, who this goddess statue really is. They actually said it at the very beginning, but her name is actually Hylia, and that's comes from the name Hyrule Field. So you're kind of wondering, where that name came from. It originated from this statue. It's part of the history, on the Zelda franchise. I like when she plays her harp. Now this yellow text, it can be a little bit misleading. That's actually really not, it's not really Zelda speaking, but it's more or less the goddess speaking. Or, not really the goddess, but yeah. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but that yellow text is actually another type of deity that's speaking to you. And there we go. Now we got the sailcloth. Now basically the sailcloth is used for jumping any high places you want. You can dive anywhere you want, and then you can push the B or the Z button, and it will release the sailcloth, and you can dive from high places and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's something that was not in previous Zelda games, where when you dive down and like from really high up, you actually take damage and stuff. Well, they fixed that, where you have this item now where you can actually dive and use the sailcloth and you won't take any damage. So it's a very useful skill to use, or item. To do this here with me like you promised. Are they gonna kiss? I take your hand in marriage. Will you marry me, Princess Zelda? Man, if I was Link, I'd propose right there on the spot. Uh-oh. I'll pick this one. See what happens. And just what are you thinking? Oh boy, don't be silly. This is our big moment, Link. And Link's probably thinking, our big moment? Yeah, I can only think of one thing. Okay, so you have the next part of the trial is you have to land in the middle of that circle, or close to it. But see that whole part of that golden circle? As long as you land inside that golden part of it, then you're fine. It just basically teaches you how to land with the sailcloth, how to glide. If you if you land in the direct middle, props to you, because that's a little bit more difficult, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I was actually pretty close. Here we go. See, and you just kind of guide your way down, and see, I almost made it, but I was like right off the edge, but I still completed it because I landed within the circle. When I first started this game, it was actually pretty difficult. I was trying to get used to all the controls, and I freaking flew off the one end and almost flew off the whole damn skyloft. I was terrible when I first started. But I got used to it now, obviously, because I've been playing the game. Being so nice. Is she asking you all on a date? It looks like it. Fly around the clouds together. How romantic. That's why I say I really like this, the Zelda's personality in this game. She's a lot more, she develops a lot more humanistic natures, than the other Zeldas do, where they're just, a princess, and she didn't need saving and all that crap, Now this is when the story starts to take a turn. It's all nice. Everything's all perfect. I like the expressions on their faces too, on the character faces. There's something I mean to talk to you about. Now this is something that she wanted to talk to before, but something had happened, an interruption. And you can see there's a big, huge tornado blast coming from the surface world. And this one things just totally go horribly wrong. Too bad. You knew something was going to happen sooner or later. And this is basically where he gets thrust into his destiny, like all Zelda games. This is how the story begins. So this character here is a very important character in the storyline. It's like, no. That big old monster swallows her up, and then boom, Link wakes up in his room. He's thinking it's all a dream.
Oh.
So essentially this is where the story kind of starts to take off, begin. The premise of it is Zelda has gone missing and now Link has to, try and find her. But there's a couple of different, plot twists throughout, so it'll be pretty interesting actually. It's not the typical generic, rescues of Princess Zelda. I mean, it still has that sort of basis as the story, but it's not generic though, where you rescue Princess Zelda and then it just, ends. There's more to the story than that. So. I really like how it ties all the history together from all the other past Zelda games and stuff in this game. You'll see a lot about that, moving forward. Yep, she was talking about the service. See, that's when he caught on, basically, when they were at that, on that, right before they captured the loftwing. They were standing on that, that wooden, structure out there, and she was talking about the surface. That's kind of how Link caught on to something was up, with her. So. So like I said, there's definitely a lot of cutscenes involved in this video, and there's going to be a brief moment of great gameplay, and then it's going to go right back into cutscenes, storyline cutscenes again. So, but it's interesting how it all develops. Now you hear a faint voice trying to call you. This kind of reminds me of Navi from Ocarina of Time. Fairy. I guess they kind of use this same kind of approach in the storyline for this game, but it's it's different. It's not a fairy, and you find out it's that character, that figure. So now we finally have control, and basically the only thing you want to do right now is you want to follow her. and she'll take you to where you have to go. There's nothing you can really do right now except for follow her. You want to have your weapon out because we're actually in the dead of night on Skyloft, and like they said before, well actually I just jumped off by accident. Whoops, that was a mistake. I'm supposed to do that. Now this is something that actually happens if you actually jump off a Skyloft. This foot soldier will actually you know, catch you and bring you back. But when you're down in the real world, it's not going to be the same. That's basically what he's telling you. You'll actually die from that. You'll actually lose a heart or whatever, you know. So you want to be careful that you don't fall off buildings or jump over the railing like I just did there. Alright, so back on track. We're going to follow Fi. Yeah, that's her name. I just gave it away, but you'll find out here in a few minutes. And you want to have your weapon out because we're in the night of Skyloft and there are enemies. Not, you know, very particularly strong enemies, just there are a few enemies that you'll have to fight during night in Skyloft. As we've already learned before, so. And this is the first creature that we were talking about before, or that the headmaster was talking about before, was the remnant. And this is what happens to them when it's nighttime. They grow ferocious. Now all it takes usually is a couple sword strikes and then they run away. And that's how you know you can't really actually kill them. You can just scare them. Because they're technically not really a monster, I guess. I'm doing a couple extra strikes to it though, just to make sure. And if he's sitting there, he's not going to attack you. Then you can just move on. And down here there's a chest. Let's see what we got here. Oh, red ruby. And there's one of those things again. You notice he's actually a little bit bigger than the other ones you fought. So like when you fight these guys, they split into multiple enemies. So you want to make sure you kill both of them. And anybody who's played any Zelda games at all know that that's a pretty common enemy in the Zelda franchise, the choo-choos. You know, when they get really big like that, they split into multiple forms. And that's pretty much the only enemies you'll fight other than the keys and the bats and stuff right now. Until we, you know, move on. So now we have to go across this ledge. You can see my stamina gauge is almost depleted, but I just made it. I'm gonna keep following Fi. And there's a bat. Or keys, whatever. And when they try to dive like that, you want to back up or you know, backflip. Do what I do. That's how I avoid most enemies, is backflipping. A couple little platforms you have to pass here is pretty easy. And you'll find out right when you reach the top of the area that you're right at actually the back end of the goddess statue, where you were before when you came here from, you know, with Zelda and the Giapora, the headmaster. And you'll find out there's a hidden door that you can access now. Right behind the right behind the goddess statue. So there's a whole bunch more cutscenes coming up. That's pretty much the brief gameplay that we just had just now. And these part of the cutscenes are pretty interesting. Everybody will remember this. The fabled sword. So that's her name is Fi. She just gave her name now. So it's clear that she is a deity, you know, of some sort, and has been around for a very, very long time, for many generations. So you don't know her actual true identity yet until like you get further in the game, but she plays a very important role, kind of like Nevi does in Ocarina of Time. As your fairy or whatever, you know, you get to use her. So we'll talk about that later. Probability of altering your current emotional state. So yeah, this is when she tells Link that Zelda is still alive and is not dead. Even though she looked like it because she was swallowed by that big, massive monster-looking beast. And this is where she tells you that you guys both have a great destiny to fulfill. Link and Zelda both have a great destiny to fulfill and a role to play in this story. Are you ready to accept this sword? I like how everything in this game is like a minigame, essentially. I mean, just pulling the sword out is actually a minigame in itself. You have to actually use the Wii remote. And I actually had a couple problems here, but you gotta hold on to it, push A, and then you gotta push your Wii remote down and then pull it up. Like that, you know. I was trying to figure that out because I forgot about it, but it's not too difficult. And so there you go. Now you got the legendary sword. Except for it's not called the Master Sword yet. It's actually called the Goddess Sword. The Master Sword actually hasn't came into play yet in the timeline, so and you'll find out about that though moving towards in the game. And now you can do these things called a Skyward Strike, which is a pretty cool attack that you get. Now you'll notice where it says Skyward Strike is now at maximum strength. This is a hero mode only dialogue sequence right there. Because normally when you get the Skyward Sword attack, it'll charge up, you know, and then it'll take a while to charge up, and then you'll get like a different level, and then it'll, you know, much shorter time it'll charge up, and then it'll be at a maximum by the time you're at the end of the game. Well, if you'll notice, one of the added benefits they added to the hero mode is it's at its maximum right off the get-go, so you can actually charge it up right away, and it doesn't take hardly long at all. So that really tremendously is going to help you through you know, the future dungeons and all that stuff. So I'm very thankful for that. They gave you a little handicap there, I guess. I really do love all the music they chose to use for this game. You'll see there's a lot of great soundtracks. I mean, too bad I got the volume low right now, but the soundtracks are great. See that yellow text, so whoever's speaking there knows of the oracle and knows of the destiny that's set upon me, and you won't find out the identity of that that person until later. He's not really a person, but you won't find the identity of that figure until later. That deity that keeps speaking to you all the time. You'll notice how she appears to talk through Fi, and she also appears to talk through Zelda, so it's kind of interesting. I don't think they've ever actually created cutscenes in the Zelda game that have actually been this long before. I think Skyward Sword is the one really to win that for as far as lengthy long cutscenes, you know. But I like it. It develops the story and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting, and there's a lot of them like that here in the game. So, but don't worry, we'll actually be playing here pretty soon after these cutscenes. Okay, so Fi basically gives you this tablet, and that's actually kind of a key to unlock the world below. So that's the first step. I like that word, Skyward. So basically, the Skyward Sword is pretty awesome skill. It's you basically have to move your arm up a little bit. You know, raise it sky high. You don't really have to raise it all the way up like that, but just a little bit to where you can charge it, and then you can let go. You know, just like you're swinging an actual real sword. It's really cool. And so you want to activate that symbol. And if you look at that symbol very carefully, you'll notice that it's actually an inscription that's been used on all past Zelda games, like the Hylian people, and the Hyrule Shield has that symbol on it on all the Zelda games. So you'll find out exactly what that symbol is about, and in this game you'll find out kind of the origins of that, that symbol and what it represents and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty interesting. So now we got to put the tablet inside here. And you can see how there's a place for like three more tablets to be inserted. So obviously at some point in the game, you'll get extra tablets that open up further parts of the surface world once you've completed, dungeons and stuff like that. So there we go. Now we got finally access to the old world, or the surface world. So the goddess is the one that created the cloud barrier. So this is cool. Fi actually joins you. She's going to be within your sword, and you can call her out whenever you want to, just by pushing the directional pad button. The down arrow button. Big roles to play in the destiny of this land. Precisely. Please find my daughter and bring her back to me. I certainly will. I'll just put okay.
Oh.
Okay, so this is basically when you get the, you know, the infamous Link outfit pretty soon here. The one that everyone knows about. So now that his journey and everything is all set in stone and ready, now they get to show you, oh yeah, you get a chance to save, so I'm going to save. And there's one little more cutscene right here where he puts on his actual clothes. And there it is. The hero of legend, the one we know, Link. Traditional Link outfit with the, you know, the hat and the clothes and everything, the garb. And this is where it originated from. It's from the Knight Academy. And I guess it was passed down through the generations to Link, to, you know, to the various Links, you know, throughout each game. So they're telling me to equip ourselves before we journey forth, and that'll be in my next video. I'll actually prepare. I'll be actually be exploring Skyloft a little bit more and preparing ourselves for the dangers ahead. And so now finally we have control with our character again. So yeah, that'll be in our next video. We're gonna actually go to the sparring hall, and you can only guess, you know, what's gonna happen during that point in time. Is you're probably gonna be getting the shield here pretty soon. That's the next event. Is we'll be getting the shield. But I won't be including that in this video because this video is already 30-something minutes long. Alright, now we got the adventure pouch, and this is basically just a pouch where you can you know, equip items. It's very, very useful in the game. It's one of the main things you need to have at all times. And you can actually increase it as you get further in the game. You can increase the adventure pouch to hold more items. I think the total is like 8 or 12 items. I forget what exactly, but that's basically what it is like a quick slot. You can hold down the button right next to the map, the little minus sign there, and you can open up the quick menu slot, right? And you can see where you can equip basically weapons and items when you get them, and you can quick select them also by just tapping the button, you know, bringing them out or whatever. Alright, so here we go. Now, for now, I'm going to save. I'll look around the academy later. Now, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show how this works. Is you call her, and you can select all these different things. Like, first of all, the playtime. Current playtime is 57 minutes. Total playtime is 1 hour, or 143 hours and 21 minutes. That's including my last previous game. And then you can also ask for advice, which will bring up a couple other options, which is like rumors, hint, and summary. We'll click on rumors first. He would seem that the great sky spirit Levias dwells in the clouds near Skyloft. Okay, so that's something that you won't see for a long time to come. So, but it's basically like a rumor in the game. So I find it interesting that you can use her, you know, for all your help, all your advice, and all your needs and stuff like that. So you're gonna click hint. This is Skyloft. Now you can usually click hint in like any area you want to know about. Like if I was in the academy, she'll tell you about what the academy is, or if you're in Skyloft, she'll tell you what that town's about, or if you're in the bazaar or wherever, you know. Wherever you are, you can find out exactly where you are with the hint. And the advice gives you advice on, or not advice, but a summary gives you basically just a summary analysis of what you've done so far. And the last thing I believe is objective, which kind of tells you your next objective and also gives you analysis on your gameplay time. Dive into the column of light, obviously. Current session playtime, yep, 143 hours. God, by the time this is done, I'll have like 200 something hours under my belt. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Next time I'm going to include definitely a lot more gameplay. We're going to be searching around Skyloft a little bit, grabbing the shield and preparing ourselves for the journey ahead. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.